Hi, it's Mark Rushton of markrushton.com. It is Sunday, January 10th, 2021. This is Realtor Recon for Artists number 8. We're going to go to Knoxville, Iowa, and look at a Pseudo-barndominium. Knoxville, yes, home of the stock car races. Close to Pella with those Dutch letters, and fairly close to Oskaloosa, which is a very, very cute town, which I drove through a few weeks ago when I sold my bicycle, and I was very, very impressed with Oskaloosa. It had some really cute, it was just cute overall, just driving through the town, and then it had this neighborhood near the hospital on the east end that was just beautiful. Just a Don Draper neighborhood. But I didn't want to do okay, so what I'm going to do today, so what is Realtor Recon? I should probably do that every single time. I am a outside of my day job, I'm a fine artist, and I'm also a recording artist. And so my contention is for other artists out there is that you shouldn't necessarily be living in very expensive big cities unless you have some reason to do that. A lot of artists there, that kind of struggling these days. Musicians too, the live musicians in particular, they're having a rough time of it. So really, kind of what my thinking is that maybe you ought to live and work somewhere cheaper, at least for a while. And so this recon is sort of me perusing through real estate listings, either commercial or residential, and coming up with ideas and just giving people ideas. And a bit of a fantasy on my part. I've always been interested in looking at real estate listings. Even when I was a kid, my dad would bring home these MLS listings back in the day that were printed off. And it was kind of fun to go through them. And of course, in the internet age, it's easy. Everybody can kind of go through it. And, it's amazing how bad some of the photography out there is, and some of the listings. It's no wonder it's been on the market for 1,142 days. It's not even about the price. It's the fact that you have one photo and it was shot with a potato and it's this big. So yeah. And what I did on the earlier editions, originally this was called Where Artists Should Live, and then I changed it over to Realtor Recon just because it's a snappier name. And I would profile a lot of properties in various communities. I think I'm going to kind of scale it back here to I'm going to pick one. It's either going to be a commercial property or to be a residential property for whatever purposes. And I'm going to kind of stick to Iowa as an example, just because there are a lot of cheap properties in the sticks. Even in bigger cities, there are some good cheap properties. Yeah, some of them might need a little work or whatever, but there's reasons why. And another thing I've said is that there are a lot in the last decade or so. There's a lot of people that have left, like New York and stuff like this. They just get priced out of it, and so they go to some place like Detroit, where there's an abundance of burned out dumps. But you go to there, and the property taxes are absolutely ridiculous. And is it really worth it? And it's a little more north, and you get a little bit more winter. And not that Iowa is, a walk in the park as far as winter is concerned, but those are things to think about. Yeah, I'm on the water bottle today. I can't find my glass. So let's get started here with Realtor Recon number 8, Knoxville, Iowa. And I've just got one listing in here, and it's this Pseudo-barndominium. And I wanted to talk a little bit about that. Well, where is Knoxville? Knoxville is about 37 miles from Des Moines. Looks like they say 45 minutes to downtown. Des Moines, I grew up in Des Moines, and there used to be lots of places all around town where artists could live pretty cheaply and do their work. I remember when I was in high school in the mid-'80s, there were a bunch of artists that lived over in what's now the East Village, in a kind of a above a business, and I don't know what they paid back then, but oh my God, the price that would be today. It's right by the Capitol. It'd be ridiculous. No artist just out of school could really afford that unless they had like rich parents or something like that. And I don't know, there's something kind of cool about having a space that's kind of maybe a little bit run down. Maybe you do a little fix it up or whatever. Or if you're going to rent it cheap, or if you're going to own it, then you're going to have some roots. But yeah, Des Moines, all over Des Moines. I mean, you used to be able to get properties down in the Italian area, which is just south of down, and that's all being built up now too. It's anywhere really, other than the near north side. There's a few properties that you can get fairly cheap, but you're usually right next to something that's rotting, or there's crime or something like that. You have to be careful about that sort of. And the burbs, forget it. Absolutely forget it. It's all mixed Starbucks or whatever. And even the exurbs. I guess Knoxville would kind of be an exurb. There are probably people that commute from Knoxville to work in Des Moines. Certainly Pleasantville, definitely Hartford, and of course Carlisle along Highway 5 there, and Indianola and places like that. But even if you go to some place like Indianola or Adel, Altoona, they just going to merge into something there. So you have to go, if you want to get something into something a little cheaper, you got to go further out. And of course, I talk about my dad's hometown of Centerville, where it's 90 miles south of Des Moines, and there's not much there. There's about 5,000 people, and you can get property cheap all over the place if you want to live out in the middle of nowhere, and which some people might want to do. This is a little bit closer. This would be like somebody who, this property here in Knoxville would be for somebody who maybe is a working artist, maybe is kind of starting to make a little money or something like that. Or they just want a studio. They just want a studio maybe in a little bit more remote place. Instead of driving to Des Moines for work, maybe they live in Des Moines and they drive out, and they're looking for a studio outside of town or something like that. It's a lot of possibilities. So let's start looking here. So it is this one here, 105 North Henry Street in Knoxville, Iowa. And this looks like a barndominium. And if you're not familiar with what a barndominium is, we'll knock that off there. A barndominium, you see this in rural areas where they will take a metal building, like what would normally be considered to be an outbuilding or a storage building of some kind, and then they convert it over to a residence. You see this I'm starting to see more of this in the country, and they're odd looking, right? Because they look like a commercial building or a barn or something like that, and they're out in the middle, and you've got 3-4 bedrooms, 2,500 square feet. Excuse me here. And you're, I think it's a cost savings measure. And it also, they're typically, those metal buildings are pretty well built, very low maintenance cost. You really don't have to paint anything if you don't want to. They do look a bit plain. But so this looks like a barndominium, but it is not. This was originally built, as you can see here in the listing, in 1936. So I'm thinking that this was maybe it's sort of like a commercial space, or maybe it was a sort of a large garage or something like that. Who knows what the history of this property is? Of course, Knoxville is the home of, what is it? Stock car, sprint car. I think it's sprint cars is the big deal down there with those little, they look like dune buggies with the little air thing on the top. I never understood that, but there's an audience for everything, right? So yeah, get this here, and I wanted to take a look here. Well, it says here in the property detail, so 114.5, and your payment's going to be about Your estimated payment's going to be $372 a month here. And that's with 20% down, 30-year fixed. And then how much are do we have the taxes here on this? Monthly payment, taxes. Yeah, even though you're like 45 minutes out of Des Moines, the property taxes are, $219 a month for this. Yeah, central Iowa, the property taxes are a little higher than super rural Iowa. So yeah, about $2,500 a year in property taxes. Anyway, your overall payment here is about $622 a month before utilities, but that's not bad. Like what is that? That's a kind of a crappy 1-bedroom apartment, or just a basic 1-bedroom apartment in Des Moines, so you could, and then this is 1 bedroom, 1 bath. So, but you've got 1,200 square feet, so you have space to work in. So you could live in it if you're a single person, and you could work in it. Or if you were somebody that was just, wanted it as a studio, it could be sort of a, I'm going to do my work and then crash pad, right? Something like that. All right, so let's get in, and 150 days on Realtor.com. So spacious living, fenced yard, several updates since 2007, including furnace, AC, plumbing, some electrical work, water softener, on-demand gas water heater. Oh, that's nice. Sewer line to the sidewalk, metal exterior. That's why it looks like a barndominium. Formerly used as a daycare center in R2 zoning. Buyer responsibility for due diligence with the city of Knoxville if wanting to use it as a commercial property rather than residential. Taxes are shown. Oh, excuse me here. Taxes shown are based on commercial classification, but would change if changed to residential use. They would probably go down, I would think, in this county. I should do a comparison, right? Let's go back out here to Realtor.com. Let's find something that is residential and about the same size. And monthly payment. Yeah, the property taxes on this are $159 a month. So your taxes would go down about $900 a year if you change it over to a residence rather than a business. And an artist could have that be either one, right? You could just have that be your residence and use it as a studio, some kind of studio, right? Let's get back to the main one here, 105 North Henry Street. And let's expand the photographs out. Nothing fancy about that. Just a basic kitchen in the corner. And you've got a big carpeted space there. Again, would be, I don't think we really get a view of they don't, again, the photography. This, yeah, you could use the walls to be a private gallery, a place where, if you had customers that were interested in your work, or you just needed a space to hang things, this would work. The basic bedroom and bathroom. Again, this looks like a lot of the barndominiums I've seen. Just very, very, but nothing, no frills, just simple living. And that's, a lot of people, that sort of minimalist thing that I got, I got a stove, I've got a dishwasher, I got a fridge. They're white. Who cares? And if you were to use this as, sort of a recording studio or place to do sculpture, place to do paintings or whatever. You got your break room right there. Then you have a little outdoor area here that's with the big fenced yard. Not very much maintenance there at all. Probably take you, what, 20 minutes to mow that, maybe? It is kind of an odd exterior. It looks like a barndominium. It looks like a metal building. Why did they choose that? There must be some reason. Yeah, I mean, look at that. It straddles the line, right, between residence and commercial. It looks a little too commercial. I mean, that facade there. What would you do to dress that up if you wanted to make it not look? I would change that porch, and maybe put some shutters on the windows. Maybe cut out a space for another window or something like that. Maybe even also just not the upper section there, but the lower section. Maybe change that over to I don't know. It's very odd. It's because the concrete comes all the way up to the building there, and there's no gutters. So let's take a look at the neighborhood around here. This is what it looked like in 2013. And again, let's go a little closer here. The upper section here, the all white, I mean, that looked pretty good. But I mean, if you just put on, instead of vertical siding, you put on horizontal siding, I think that would help. And put on shutters, and then, instead of like this sort of wainscoting type of thing on the bottom there, I don't know. The weeds, and just, maybe take out the concrete and put in rock or something like that. But as far as the space is concerned, I like it as a studio. I think it'd work really good. And if you're just a single person living and working, cranking it out, that looks pretty good there. Let's take a look around the neighborhood here, and because it is a neighborhood, you've got a mix of older homes and then new in 2013 here. There's the RV from Breaking Bad. And oh, look, we've suddenly been transported to 2021 here. Oh, wait, no. We were there. We were in 2021. Oh, we're still in 2013. Never mind. This just looks like a nice little middle class neighborhood. I could see the point of that the fence, maybe to not have people kind of walking through the. Let's get down here. And then on the other side of you here, you have this little garage. It looks like a storage garage of some kind. 3 cars. Yeah, that's where they would put their cars because they've added on to this house here. What's going on up here? Is this a church or a school? Something? Anything? Let's go back down the road here. I wonder if we can go down the alley. Oh, it's the Knoxville Panthers. Is that what it is? The old. Yeah, it's very plain. It's very unusual. Very unusual here. A small number of windows. Yeah, I can't go down the alley. I mean, that would make if you lived in there and had your studio in there, that'd be in 1,200 square feet. Would be good enough space and minimal yard maintenance during the summer. And I think I would be inclined to maybe what would I do with this here? I think I would be inclined to build a driveway and to put guttering up and just a few little improvements there, and then sort of kind of keep that as maybe just a driveway, put in a garage, maybe a courtyard, just nothing super fancy or anything like that. But yeah, I kind of like that. And again, it's, your pricing is, yeah, $650 a month with 20% down. It's not bad. So you get the big front room, and then you get a bedroom, and then you get a bathroom. I really like the big front room. I really like that. And I don't care whether there's carpet or hardwood or whatever, because I would be careful about. And I don't care what the color is inside. It's good enough, I guess. Yeah, it has its quirks, but I mean, at that price point, Knoxville, Iowa. Okay, let's get back to the front here. There we go. Yeah, that's not bad. It's not bad. It's in at least a good enough shape. If you want to put some more money into it, you can. You got lots of storage. Yeah, you're in a neighborhood. As long as you're not going to cause any problems. You're not dealing with a building from 1880. It is from 1936, but clearly it's had a lot of improvements. No flood factor. Noise is not an issue. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Yeah, get that rezoned. That would make a very good studio space. Whether or not you wanted to live there. If you wanted to live there, then that would just make your net incredibly low as far as cost of living and stuff like that. So, all right, 25 minutes on one property. Rushton Rambles, Realtor Recon number 8. That's right, Knoxville, Iowa. The Pseudo-barndominium. I like it. I've not come up with a Rushton score yet for these commercial properties. I'm trying to come up with a criteria for like points or something like that. Maybe 4 or 5 points, like what makes it really good. But I would put this high up on the list. I would be 2 thumbs up on something like that. If you didn't mind being in Knoxville. Of course, that's the criteria with all of these. It's like, if you don't mind being in this town or that town and having it cost this much or that much, or having that much to work to do. Yeah, I don't think. You don't really have to spend a lot of money on this property. I would put maybe a few things in there just in case I wanted to move on from this someday, but that's not bad. That's not bad. Uh, all right, we'll leave it at that. Realtor Recon for artist number 8, Knoxville, Iowa, the Pseudo-barndominium. Thumbs up on that from me. And maybe I'll make a video later. Who knows? I think I'm going to work on creating and editing music today, and get back into that because it's been a few days. And well, if I don't make anything later today, I'll talk to you on Monday.